What up? It is at St. Lauren 57, sober, celibate, and saved. I just got done with my Celebrate Recovery Step Study. We are making way. I think we're going to be on lesson 15 next week. But anyways, before I came to Celebrate Recovery, I have a class that I go to every Tuesday from 4 to 5 where I'm staying. And today we are talking about, it's a substance use disorder class. It's called Motivation for Change. And we were talking about like what our values were, before addiction, and, how addiction kind of changed that or whatever and whatnot. And, I was just super burnt out because I spent literally from like 9:30 in the morning to about 2 o'clock in the computer lab filling out applications. I did have one brief quick phone interview, and then I also had to, I was applying for a state job and I had to write this essay. And I tell you what, writing an essay from scratch without ChatGPT is like, this is why our society is just going downhill. You know what I'm saying? It's a great resource, but man, dude, if you don't, have those skills, to write, man, it takes a toll on the brain. But when we were in class, we got this worksheet and it was talking about our values and stuff, like what are our values and whatnot. And, I couldn't help but saying out loud is how, like, typically, like, before, for many years, I'd be like, oh, respect, trust, loyalty, right? For sure, right? These are the things I value. Like, I value being trustworthy. I value being able to trust people. I think respect is important. But the one thing is, like, something that used to be a value was loyalty. And I literally was like, fuck loyalty, dude. Because the definition of loyalty was, it was not, it didn't go hand in hand with the healthy, like, surrounding. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, I don't give a shit about being loyal to anybody. Like, loyalty got me absolutely nowhere. I was always loyal to the wrong person, and I was always the one who, you would go to bat for people, or, just always be there for them, always give them the benefit of the doubt, and that kind of thing, especially when it comes to, like, dating and relationships, right? And it was horrible because loyalty, it allowed me to bend my boundaries. And when I'm literally at my authentic self and I'm not, like, emotionally distraught and I'm celibate and I'm, like, actually, like, caring about, like, what do I really want? What do I really, like, what will I accept from people that is actually okay and doesn't hurt me mentally or emotionally or physically, And the one thing I was like, fuck loyalty, dude. Like, that's definitely something I'll never value loyalty. Because loyalty is, like, you, to me, and, and this is how it sits with me, right? Is me, A, B, C, and D. And then it also was connected to, like, a very unhealthy, very destructive lifestyle. Whether when I was young and I'm, hanging out with, like, gangbangers, or, kind of like, and then when I'm in addiction and I'm in that, around those people in that lifestyle, or this and that, right? Like, very unhealthy things and unsafe things and things I don't even, like, that don't, I don't, like, really, that aren't important to me. Now, what's important is, like, being consistent, being reliable, being humble, having compassion and empathy, and being responsible, being dependable, being faithful in a relationship is super important, right? And so when I think now in my very, way healthier self, especially, like, not trying to find a partner to make me feel whole, and not trying to make everything work so I can have this family or this relationship, yada, yada, yada. Like, of course, faithfulness in a relationship is important. And I don't think it should be about loyalty, because if I'm wrong, a good friend, a good partner, a good companion is going to be there to let me know and check on me if I'm okay. Like, why is something going to make me not be my best self, right? And they're not going to just not hold me accountable. They're not going to be like, oh, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want anyone to lose their sense of morals or values over something like that. I think morals and values are super important, and to stick to that, to be your authentic self, right? And we don't all have to be the same. And I feel like loyalty puts you in that thing where you gotta be the same, or you gotta accept less, or you gotta just be okay with some things. And I'm not gonna just be okay with some things, and I'm not gonna, there's a difference when, you're in a relationship and you know what I'm saying, you're committed to the relationship and you're doing what you gotta do, not what you gotta do, but what you feel is right to, you know what I'm saying, to, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then I don't want to help you. It's because I'm backing up. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, a healthy person's not going to, or when you come to your senses, or when you're your healthiest self, and you're, maybe, look, if friendship has got to come first. God has got to come first before any of this other crap that blurs our vision and makes us, like veer away from, what is going to bring me what is going to keep me at my best self and keep me growing in a relationship. And loyalty is just not it. Faithfulness, someone being reliable, someone being consistent, someone being open, someone being kind, someone being respectful, someone, someone being caring. Like, all of those things are important in a companion, right? And even in a friendship, like, if you're wrong, that's okay. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all are allowed to have boundaries. We all are allowed to accept or not accept things. And, like, it's just the same thing. Like, I have friends, who have people that they're not friends with. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with somebody. I'm not going to go around telling this person what you're telling me, because obviously if you don't have a friendship with that person or a rapport, you know what I'm saying, then I'm not going to do that, right? But, if there's something that, if my friendship is built off of something else with somebody, like, we don't all, you know what I'm saying, like, you don't have to have the friends that I have and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, that's just, to me, that's just not right, because, there, whatever reasons why you guys don't get along, but never should you share things, especially when you are aware when someone is no longer in friendship with somebody else. You're not going to share things with that person that someone confided in you, because they're not going to tell that person that, obviously, because they don't have that rapport. And so that's not my business to share, right? Like, that'll just be between me and that friendship. I can compartmentalize and respect the boundaries, and, I can still come as my authentic self. You know what I'm saying? And also, I'm about keeping myself safe. I don't care about anything else other than keeping myself safe. And some people think, like, some people, like, say something about loyalty to kids. Yes, I love my children. And it's not about being loyal to my kids, because guess what? I'm still going to tell my kids when they're wrong. I have to. I can't just make them think that everything they do is right if it ain't, just like me. And so me getting back to my authentic self and my values and what I believe in is, for one, being consistent, being reliable, being stable, being healthy, making sure that I'm doing what I got to do to keep myself right, so that I can be right for them. And that way they can recognize somebody who is a safe place, right? It's not, this loyalty word is just like, no good for me. Like that, I don't like it. Just, and for other people, they may have other definitions of loyalty, and that's fine. This is my opinion. But that loyalty crap, I'm never doing that again. I'll be consistent with myself. I'll be honest with myself and obviously others. And I'll hold myself accountable and hold me accountable and all those kind of things, right? Like in my friendships and my relationships and my fellowship, my community, and in a companion, should I ever decide, or even if I allow that to happen again ever. But what's most important is staying humble, having humility so that I can continue to grow, so I continue to stay teachable, so I can continue to, always make sure that I'm doing things to keep me at my best self. And because the world is forever evolving, I will be forever evolving. I will be forever learning, and not everybody or every situation is the same, and not every season is the same either. So in order for me to best acclimate and to adapt and to, grow within every season, I have to stay humble, but also being consistent, because that way, if you're consistent, you're dependable, you're reliable, people can trust you, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of thing, if you maintain consistency. But and that's the thing too, is that's what is important for me to provide for my children, is to be a consistent parent, to be a consistent example of a woman, to be a consistent example of an employee, to be a consistent example of a community member, to be a consistent just human being. Because if you're consistent, people can rely on that. That makes you feel safe. When someone's consistent and, you can trust that person and you can rely on that person, and all the other things that go around being consistent, trust, communication, openness, willingness, and all those good things. So that's just food for thought. But it was just funny because I was in class and I'm reading and I said, you know what? I couldn't help but say it out loud. I was just like, fuck loyalty. You know what I mean? Loyalty got me nothing, but me projecting loyalty and me living off of loyalty didn't get me anywhere healthy. Making that a value with an unhealthy definition didn't do anything for me. Faithfulness, duh. Because that goes along with everything. Like, these are almost all interpersonal skills as well. You know what I'm saying? Which is important because we are, the world does not revolve around me. We are forever living in society. We are forever living to be of service in some way, shape, or form. It is not always about me. So I'm not to be self-serving. Now, there are different things to keep me safe, to, things I have to do in my own life to keep me secure and to keep me growing. You know what I'm saying? That's important. But it's the same reason why, like, God wants us to live in community, is because it's not just about us. We're supposed to be serving so that we can all help one another and love one another and kind of keep that good news spreading. So yeah, it was just food for thought, and some people may not agree, and I get it. I was there. I was like, oh yeah, respect, loyalty. What? And then, in having loyalty, I got disrespected every single time. So I would stay loyal, and loyalty and faithfulness are different. You know what I'm saying? Because having a faithful companion means that we are monogamous. It means that you are only mentally, emotionally, physically, intimately with me. It means that you're committed to our relationship. You are committed to, just communicating and being on the same level. And being faithful too is also when you feel like this is something you don't want to do anymore, and there's nothing, and obviously that wouldn't be coming from me. That would be a you thing. If you feel like you don't want to do this anymore, then there's something that changed within you. Because obviously I still wanted to be in it. But if something changes to where you don't want to be in it, that is totally and also completely okay. But being faithful to me in that situation would mean having that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be respectful. That would be reliable. That would be trust. And, no matter how bad it hurts, so much your respect and love and empathy and appreciation comes from having that honest conversation. So faithfulness is something that's way more important, and loyalty has nothing to do with it. Loyalty is going to be giving you a hall pass for every wrong, and we're never going to talk about it. We're never going to, you're never going to say, we're not even going to, like, our morals and values at that point won't even have to match up. But because I gave you my loyalty, means that, you know what I'm saying? And that's just not going to work out. Because giving you my loyalty means that I will accept all of the wrong that you do, and we will never talk about it. I will have to endure it. I won't ever get an explanation, and I will just be kind of like this pawn. I will be just this scapegoat for somebody for when they need somebody to and because there's nothing with coming as you are. We're not perfect. I don't expect anyone to be perfect. Even when I'm at my best self, I'll never be perfect, right? But I will be humble enough and faithful enough and communicate enough and be consistent, reliable enough and teachable enough to where I can take accountability and grow from a situation where I am wrong, right? Or I can be honest enough, because honesty is obviously freaking important. I can be honest enough with myself and with someone else to acknowledge something like that and, be like, well, this just won't work for me. That honest communication, that honest acknowledging, you know what I'm saying? So that's where loyalty to me, in my healthiest, authentic self, loyalty doesn't mean anything. Loyalty doesn't mean anything. And I mean, faithfulness could even go into friendship. When you're being faithful to me as a friend and letting me know, like, hey, like when you see that I'm going down a path or whatever, and you're faithful, like having, like, you know what I'm saying, and you love me and all these kind of things, like, that's the conversation that we can have. But not just loyalty, and accepting all my wrongs, especially if they're affecting you. I would never want someone to put themselves through that. You know what I'm saying? That's forcing. When you have to force someone's hand onto something, no matter what, inevitably that will fall apart. People have to have the right of choice. You know what I'm saying? And this is where commitment and communication and honesty and consistency and all that stuff play a part, right? So loyalty does not have to be a part of that at all. People deserve to have a choice where it's like, hey man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when someone commits a crime and this is that, whatever, but now they're coming after you for whatever reason, you're an accessory. And it's like, so your loyalty allows you to be punished and for you to endure pain and for you to endure consequences all on your own because you're loyal to someone else who doesn't give a fuck about you. They just needed somebody to be that scapegoat. And that's where I'm like, that's not okay with me anymore. I don't care about loyalty. So, like I said, food for thought. At St. Lauren 57, be safe and be kind.